Hi guys, welcome back to our vegan kitchen. We're going to make something fun today.
Yay!
We've been enjoying so much the Great British Bake Off. And recently they had bread week and it was so good. We just wanted to make homemade bread so badly. But the weather here has been so hot and it finally is bread making weather. And here we are today. We're going to be making a turtle loaf. Now, there's not any turtle in it. It's not any special kind of bread. It's just in the shape of a turtle because it's fun. And this is something fun that you could do with your kids. It's really simple. You could show them how to make the stuff that comes from the supermarket because chances are you've probably never made bread before. And it's really simple and it's fun and it doesn't need to be intimidating.
And it's
let's
delicious.
Get started. It is very delicious. All right, let's get started. It's very simple. Do not leave this step out. You might be sorry in the end. And I say you might because there's always a chance that your yeast could be dead. I know. There's no way of telling though unless you use it. So smart bakers will proof their yeast before they make the bread. I can't tell you how many times I did not proof my yeast before I made the bread, and I made my bread and the yeast was dead, and I had a tortilla instead of a loaf instead of a boulet. So let's
always
get started.
Proof your yeast.
Yeah, we've got some warmish water. You do not want this above 100 degrees or so. You could probably go as high as like 110, but just so that it's like a little bit more than body temperature, you'll feel it. It'll be like, oh, I could take a bath in that.
It's hot tub.
No, that's too much.
Why? That's like 100.
Well, we always had our hot tub set for like 105 and above. So I know. Boil your brains. All right, so we're going to put our water in first. 3/4 of a cup. Don't worry if you miss any measurements. It will be in the info box below. Then we're going to take some sugar. Because what feeds yeast? Sugar. Just like it feeds us, it feeds the yeast as well. And that lets it bloom and grow and fart. That's what the bubbles are going to be. It's the yeast farting. I know, it's exciting. And now our yeast. You can use a packet of yeast, but I buy my yeast in bulk because I used to do a lot of baking. So I'm going to use like just a little bit less than a tablespoon. And we're going to give that a good stir. And then I'll show you what I mean by the yeast farting.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it's not dead. I just used this recently, so it shouldn't be. All right. You just want to, you don't have to get it completely mixed up. Just get it started.
Now, I already see bubbles.
Yeah, you already see bubbles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know that the yeast is alive because it's already like sugar. Nice. So if you don't see bubbles right away, you should probably wait up to 5 minutes and then check back. But I'm pretty confident that this yeast is alive. So we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. We're going to do about a tablespoon of olive oil. A little more, a little less. It's okay. You can also use vegan butter. If you're not vegan, you can just use butter. Why would you do that, though? Just kidding. Or am I? And then we're also going to use a 1/2 cup of a plant-based milk. And that's going to be our liquid for this. Then the only other ingredients are salt and flour. This is really crowded.
It is a little crowded.
All right. So I know a lot of people out there are watching their sodium, but don't skip the salt. Even if you only do half, your bread is going to taste like a communion wafer if you don't put the salt in it. It's going to be flavorless. It's going to be bleh. So I'm using a teaspoon of salt to flavor it because it does make a big difference. And then we're going to add our flour. Oh, and I put my liquid in the flour cup. So let me get another cup. Good thing I have multiple measuring cups here. All right, so, I'm doing this the complete wrong way. I'm going to do this the right way and show you guys the right way to measure flour. You don't go dipping your cup in there and compact it. What you do is you take a spoon and you fill up your measuring cup. And then you go across it like that.
Wow.
That's how you measure flour. So that's 1 cup. We're going to be using. I see. I was about to dip it in there again, and then you could chastise me for
Don't,
doing
because
that.
we're watching you.
I know, right? So we're going to be doing 3 of these, but don't put your flour away yet because you might need more. We have to. This is definitely like a humidity thing. Depending on the humidity, that's why a lot of people who are really good at baking, like my dad was a baker, use scales to measure their ingredients because that self-adjusts it for the humidity of the day. Because flour, when it's humid, is going to weigh more than when it's, dry, like
That's
in the winter.
interesting.
Yeah. So it really affects everything. And he taught me that. And do I follow it all the time? Nope.
No.
All right, there we go. We've got our 3 cups in there, but remember, don't put it away because if it's too wet, we're going to be adding more flour. Let's go over to the mixer. All right, so we're going to do mine in the KitchenAid today because I have one. And why tire myself out when I don't have to? You're going to want to use your dough hook for this. If you don't have a dough hook, it's going to be difficult because the paddle is going to not give you the same effect that the dough hook is. They give you a dough hook for a reason. So we're just going to get it started there. It's going to take a while because it's only a little finger in there that's going around. So what you want to see is the dough climb up the hook. It will eventually work itself up the hook, and that's when you know the dough is ready. So I'll put this a little bit quicker. Alright, I'm going to stop it right here because I'm going to scrape. See, it's already starting to climb up. I'm going to scrape some of the flour away from the sides of the bowl so that it can get incorporated. I think this is actually pretty good. We might only have to add about a tablespoon of flour, but let's let it mix for another couple minutes and then we'll see. Alright, now do you see? This is wet. It's too wet. It's not pulling away from the sides. We're going to need to add a little bit more flour to this, and then we're going to add a tablespoon or 2 at a time. I'll show you what the proper consistency that we're looking for is. It's still too wet, so we're going to add 1 more round of flour. Alright, we're at the perfect consistency now, and I'll show you how I know that. It climbed up the hook, and it's pulled away cleanly from most of the sides of the bowl. It's also still wet enough to rise. If you have it too dry, they call that you're having your dough too tight. And the problem with having tight dough is it's not going to rise. It'll rise a little bit, but it's going to be a rock when you go to bake it. You want a fluffy, light dough that's not too tight. And this is perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape it off of our hook. We're going to scrape the rest off the sides. We're going to spray the sides of the bowl. Or you could put it in a fresh bowl at this point if you wanted to use your mixer for something else. But I'm not using it for anything else today, so I'm just going to let it rise in this bowl. I'm going to scrape it into a ball. And then make sure you get all your dough back on there. I'm going to take a little spray. You could also use olive oil if you want and just coat the bowl. I'm just going to spray the sides of the bowl so that it's going to be easier to get it out, so it's not going to be stuck. We're going to put a damp towel over this, kitchen towel, and let it sit for about an hour. And we'll come back and I'll show you what to do when we get back. All right, there's a lot of dead air here, so I am tasked with explaining this after the fact. So look at my lump of dough here. It has risen after about 1 hour or so. So I'm scraping it out of the bowl onto a floured work surface, and it is beautiful. This is the perfect consistency of dough that you want. It's not too wet. It's not too dry. It rose really well. Right now I'm kneading it and I'm trying to explain, flip it over and stick the palm of your hand in it. Flip it over, stick the palm of your hand in it. Work some of the flour into it to make it a little bit less sticky. Look at me, I'm having a great time. Actually, my dog was enamored by the whole process, and he was a real border collie in the headlights. And I said, all right, this is the second rise for the dough. We're going to scrape it out again. We don't really have to knead it anymore. We just want it not to be so sticky right now. So we're just going to get a little bit of flour on it so that we can make our turtle and not have it stick to our hands, the knife, or the sheet. Check it out. Check it out now. It's perfect. So this is the part of the video where I totally underestimate how much dough I'm going to need for the body of the turtle. This is one thick turtle. His legs were way too big, so after I cut it up into 5 sections, one for the head and the other 4 for the legs, I thought, whoa, these legs are way too big. And my daughter chastised me for it and said, yeah, you need to readjust. So now he's got liposuction legs and they're appropriately sized, and his head is appropriately sized. So everybody had a great time. Everybody had a great laugh at my expense, and I was cool with it. So, you know, he got his legs attached. He got his head attached. It was a good time. So after everything came together, now is the part of the show when we have a big fat fail. And that is scoring. So you're supposed to take a super duper sharp blade, which mine was probably not as sharp as it could have been, and make inadequate cuts in your bread. So these were more of just like a indent. I probably should have cut them a little bit deeper because they didn't really give a whole lot of definition to the finished turtle product. And you could see there on the bottom, he's got one thick leg right there. Way too thick for a turtle of his size. So again, I didn't cut deep enough. So there really wasn't a whole lot of definition on this turtle, where the cuts were. But it is a lot easier to just turn the sheet that the turtle is relaxing on rather than try and go around with the knife. So now he's getting a little bit of crosshatch pattern on the back. Again, not deep enough, not enough definition. And then I believe I start explaining that you really need to get this turtle into the oven. Wow, look at me, I'm so proud. You need to get this turtle in the oven pretty much right away because it's like taking the air out of a balloon when you do this. You are opening him up to letting the air that you let rise come out, and he gets a little bit deflated. So get him right in there. And full disclosure, our Pinterest fail was in the oven for about 35 minutes.
I think it's going to taste great, but it looks a little weird.
A little?
The shape didn't quite happen. I don't know what happened to its neck. I don't think we made the
spores deep enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to go back and rewatch that episode of British Bake Off.
I think so. Alright, so let's just cut them in half. Let's get it over with.
It looks like it's going to be really tasty.
It is very fluffy.
What does the
Very
inside
nice.
look like? What would Paul
Let's
Hollywood
see.
say?
That's a very nice.
That looks nice.
Yeah, there's some nice pockets in there. I think it's like pretty decent.
Oh, it smells so good.
It does.
So fresh.
It's fairly easy to slice. It's a little bit soft. Possibly another 5 minutes in the oven. But I will turn the camera over to myself. And Maddie will have a nice taste. All right, grab it up.
Ooh, it's super, super
It's squishy.
cushy.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Is it really? Bowie said, "Can I have some?"
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, it's really good.
All right. Well, I guess as long as it tastes good. Oh, I got a chef's kiss?
Yeah.
Wow. As long as it tastes good, I guess it doesn't really matter what it looks like.
It's really, really
Or
good.
does it?
Whatevs.
All right.
I'm about to get some hummus out here with this.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see us attempt more British Bake Off challenges, let us know in the
And
comments.
fail.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun though.
They are fun.
That show really inspires me to
I'd
make
be
more.
the first one off, I'm sure.
No, I would be.
Huh.
You would survive
alright,
a
I'll-
week because I would go first.
I'll agree.
So anyway, thank you guys for watching again. And until next time, much love.